Hey folks, welcome to Wolfman's Gaming 10. Today we're unboxing the game The Court of Miracles. This is definitely an interesting one for me because the game has, according to PGG, been out since 2019, but I didn't really hear about it until very recently. And I don't believe this was available in stock at my local friendly game store either for quite a while, but it recently came in stock and I've been looking to pick it up since. And I finally have my hands on a copy of this. So it's going to be interesting to see what this is, what sort of components we have in here, what the gameplay looks like, and so on and so forth. I don't know a lot about the rules and whatnot, so I'll figure that out later on. So for now, we're just going to enjoy unboxing this and see what's in here. Just a quick overview. The game is, of course, published by Lucky Duck Games, but it looks like we also have Lumberjack Studios and BlackRock Games involved in here as well. This sort of gives you on the side a quick overview of the different components that come in the box. We won't go through that quite just yet. The game is designed for 2 to 5 players, ages 10 and above, and expected to be played in roughly 40 minutes. And it looks like there is a how to learn video made available online by Lucky Duck Games as well. So if you're interested in learning how to play the game, you can always go there and check that out as well. In the meanwhile, this gives us a quick overview of what we can expect inside the box. Looks like there's definitely going to be a custom shaped board in here with some coins, player boards perhaps, I assume, some sort of a bag and tokens and whatnot. So we'll crack into it and see what's inside. And yeah, so let's maybe do that and then we'll have a look at the front art and see what we make of it. Okay, so with the shrink off, the artwork on the front is it's hard for me to sort of put into words my thoughts on it. It's not unattractive. It looks good generally, but again, there's a lot of black and dark around the side, so it almost feels like there's bad lighting going on with the artwork on the cover itself. But what you can see is not. It's quite decent, but definitely has a strong reddish hue. I wish there were a lot more different colors, and that the box perhaps maybe was not quite as dark as it were. But generally, it's not unattractive, so I don't want to sound too critical of it. But just wanted to share my thoughts on that. Now let's crack into it and see what we have inside. Of course, we have a standard inside of the lid. The first thing we're greeted with is, of course, the rule book. And before I go into it, the rule book does have a nice texture to it. It's not your typical stock paper that you see in most rule books. It's not the velvety finish you get with some of the Stonemaier games either. It's a different kind of stock paper. It's hard for me to describe it, but you'll definitely know it when you see it. But other than that, we have the artwork from the box covered in there. This gives you a bit of flavor text and story with the game itself, ending with "to be the penniless king." Don't know what that means, but interesting to see that there is flavor associated with that as well. This walks you through the setup for it, so it looks like they don't really go into what components come in the box. Yeah, that's interesting. So this gives you a setup for a 4-player game. So it looks like that's sort of like the standard setup rules for this one. Moving on. Object of the game, so it really just jumps into the rules from that point onwards. So you have the turn structure, you can place a rogue token, apply the effect, perform the action, you can settle standoffs, play a plot card, which is optional, description of the neighborhoods, and this goes into description of the neighborhoods itself, renown, square, guild, so these might be explanations of the locations, I think. And then you have the end game directly, and I don't really see where they go into the difference of what to do if you're playing with a different player count. That is interesting. I'm sure it's in here somewhere. Oh yeah, so they talk a little bit about it here. So, shuffle the plot cards, form a pile, and then it goes into things such as the 4 players take this, except in the case of a 5-player do this and whatnot. So it looks like there are some differences with the other play counts, but I wish maybe perhaps it were a little bit clearer. Uh, but again, I do need to go through this before I can reserve a final judgment on it. But just judging by sort of like the size of the rule book and this, it feels like the game should be pretty easy to get into. Setup is just a very simple single page, and I mean, half of that really is really hard artwork if you think about it. And the rules, again, seem pretty straightforward. Yeah, So if this is something that you're interested in getting into, that is there. And the back of the rulebook has some details on the abilities and actions and plot cards and whatnot. So yeah, that's the rulebook for Court of Miracles. Now, we'll put the board aside for a minute. I'll come back to this shortly. It is obviously sort of like a custom design board, so that's going to be interesting to have a look at. We have a single sheet of tokens and counters. They seem to be punching out quite well. I'm assuming this is money. It seems a little on the smaller side, but they are punching out nicely enough. No issues there. Same with these. Now you have this here as well. Not really sure what this does. Let's see. Maybe they combine into something, or maybe it's, yeah. So it looks like it might be. I don't know. This, well, it doesn't really fit completely, so I'm not sure if this is for the box or whatever that is. We'll figure this out. But there is two of these in there, and then of course you have a bunch of these tokens. Thickness on the cardboard is average, I would say. It's not thin. Should work just fine. And then, yeah, not a lot of content inside the box. You do get a cardboard insert, as it were. And I think these perhaps fit into them. And I think I just have to find the right groove to make sure that they go all the way in, as it were, so that it doesn't stick out. We have a bag, some cards, and some of these wooden tokens. So let's see what's happening in here. Let's start with the cards. So these are not tarot size cards, but they are thinner and longer. Stock is all right, not too bad. Standard finish on it. And while you can see, I think there are like 2 copies of each cards, maybe, or something like that. I think that's what's happening in here for the most part. You have Death, and these, I guess, are for the 5 different players, as it were. But generally, artwork for the cards that you do have, not a lot of cards, but for the ones that you do have, the artwork does seem to be quite decent. It's, yeah, I like these. It's not bad. There you go. And it looks like this gives you a sort of like a sense of the ability that they have. So this guy is the Fool. Each player with 5 or more coins must give you 1 coin. So if you're the village fool or whatever, apparently you can get money from other folks. And I assume all the others have abilities. And there are 2 fool cards, so they basically have identical abilities there. So that's for that. There is a large-sized bag in here. It's a cloth bag. It's enough for you to sort of fit your hand in it completely, so that's neat. That's there. No artwork on the back though, which is fine. And then we'll crack into this bag. So looks like we have some wooden pieces. We'll come to that in a minute. There's a bag of smaller wooden pieces, and let's maybe have a look at these first. Yeah, on the smaller end, different colors, maybe perhaps for different play colors or different resources. I'm not really sure, but that's there, and that's pretty much what you get inside this bag over here. The same thing with the different colors on it. And then we'll throw away the silica gel. This one seems to have definitely been quite a bit old. And we have these. Are these wooden though? That's what I want to. They feel wooden. I don't think it's plastic, but again, I can't really be 100% sure. If it is not plastic though, they've definitely spent quite a bit of effort giving it that wooden texture, as it were. But in either case, they look like they definitely have some sort of a printed screen on them. And maybe this is some sort of an action or ability and whatnot. So all of these have sort of like a bluish tone, as it were. Yeah. It's not particularly heavy, I'll just call that out. But again, they do seem to be decent quality, and of course there's a whole bag of these, so yeah, that's there. And I think the only thing that we really have left at this point to have a look at is the board, so let's bring that out and let's see what we have in there. So here we have the board, which is not double-sided, it's single-sided. The other side is basically just plain black. And let's see if I can get this on the screen. And yeah, I can with a decent amount of ease. So definitely sort of like a custom outline. I think the one thing that I definitely want to see is how these edges hold up with multiple plays and multiple uses. It is possible that some of these might get broken or bent or torn or whatnot. So I am a little concerned with that, but generally the thickness on the board is fine. So hopefully, maybe that's not an issue. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Uh, but other than that, this gives you sort of like a sense of being a walled out city, as it were, with perhaps a castle off in the corner. Looks like you have a cathedral or a church of sorts, and then some other buildings inside. And then obviously you have different spots for you to maybe put down cards and do different actions or have different tokens represented and whatnot. Again, we don't really know what it does until we go into the rules itself, but it's a neat little board. I'm definitely curious to see what's happening with this one and to learn the rules and try it out as soon as I can. But in the meanwhile, that was everything that comes in the box for the Court of Miracles. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the unboxing for this one. If you did, do give it a like and subscribe to our channel. We'll have more of these videos coming out shortly. And in the meanwhile, thanks for watching. Stay safe and I'll see you soon. Take care.